In the last 10 years, if you can undo 3 transfers that Manchester United completed, which ones would you undo?
It's a long list, lots of options. Number one, I'm gonna have to go with Paul Pogba, 89 million pound, bringing him back to Manchester United after he left at a young age. You never go back with your ex-girlfriend. On paper, great idea. One of the best players in his position in world football when he's motivated to play football, which he seldom was at United. Was always flirting with other clubs when he was on an international break. He also probably didn't have the best work ethic. I think that kind of rubbed off on some of the younger lads, right? A lot of dancing in the dressing room after a loss. That's not great. But hell of a player, but a bad transfer. The flirting, the fact that, I don't think he really fit the profile, fell out with Mourinho, and we held on to him way too long. Should have dished him when we could have, and then he basically left on a free again. Fool me once, ha ha ha. Paul Pogba's got to be number one.
Look, it was a lot of money. Record-breaking transfer. We brought him back, right? The fallout with Sir Alex Ferguson. Famously, he leaves. He does well at Juventus. At Juventus in Serie A, he scored around 28 goals across 124 appearances. He's not a striker, but, he was just like the out-of-the-box strikes, the unbelievable assists. He was running the midfield at Juventus, and he came to United, and it felt like there were just too many distractions with the Paul Pogba show, ultimately. He also had injuries, setbacks. He did team up with Mourinho for a certain period of time where it didn't all go bad, and obviously then they would fight on the training pitch, etc. So it eventually went bad, but we did get Europa League, EFL Cup with Paul Pogba. Him and Zlatan were good vibes. And at the time, bringing Paul Pogba in, that was that Ed Woodward show where we're still like best club in the world, bringing one of the top talents. And unfortunately, he didn't really live up to the level. He performed well in the World Cup with France, did win it, obviously being the man of the match. And, he never found that level for United, never found that World Cup final level for Manchester United. And Manchester United also wasn't that great either. So maybe he was a little bored by that.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the flirting with other clubs, he wasn't consistent enough. Let's be honest. First couple of years, he was excellent, but then he would get caught out all the time in midfield, lose the ball, not track back. It wasn't meant to be, and then we hung on to him too long. We signed him for the wrong reason in the first place. We signed him to sell kits. We sold him because he was a huge personality, which he obviously is, huge player, but did he fit with what Mourinho needed? Probably not. So it never made sense in the first place. We held on for him too long. He talked a lot of shit on the way out. I don't miss him at all.
He got caught for doping.
Yeah, I did.
He appealed. Now he's back. Could be coming to United, but I think we learned the second time not to go for Paul Pogba. For number 2, transfer out undo in the last 10 years, it has to be this man, Antony. Coming
could be
in
number
for
1
86
too.
million. He probably is number 1. Like Paul Pogba, you got something out of.
He's a player.
Antony is playing well for Betis, smacking around in the Farmers League in Spain, not looking too shabby. But in the EPL, he just doesn't have it. The 24-year-old came from Ajax in September 2022. He scored that big goal against Arsenal at home. But after that, he's only scored 12 in 96 appearances, celebrating scoring against League One sides in the EFL Cup like he's won the league. He also didn't really play well for Brazil. Looks like the road to nowhere, the road to us paying his wages to play for other teams. So Antony, pretty close to that top of the list there.
Yeah, it's neck and neck. I think more of it, the Pogba is digging the eye and the finger, but Antony just by far the lowest quality footballer on the list of top 10 most expensive signings. You take a punt and 20 million pounds, but paying 86 fucking million pounds, whoever sanctioned this deal, should be shot out of a cannon because, I don't want to dig on the guy, but the fee is insane. He's nowhere near the level. He's kind of a goofball too. He does some silly things. And this is one that will live in infamy. This will be an all-time bad signing beyond United. Just an all-time can't believe you did it. Antony, smell you later. Betis sounds about right. They'll give us 4 if we're lucky. Buy from 84, sell for 4.
But what's crazy is he didn't even do that amazing in the Dutch league. He literally scored 8 goals for Ajax the season before he came to United. So who bought him? This had to be the Erik ten Hag factor. You don't get to paying this amount of money without
8 goals
Erik ten Hag being
insane.
I need this guy. And for me, as soon as we signed him, you can't sign a winger who can't beat a man for pace at this league. In this league, there's a Spanish league, but at Manchester United, playing week in week out in the EPL, sir, You got to be able to beat a man for pace. We want to get into the third transfer here on the list.
It's got to be a recent one. And part of it's because of the way it went down on the lead up. So it's got to be Jadon Sancho at number 3, because we courted him for multiple summers. They quoted us like 120 that one summer, 108. What's that all? We ended up getting for 73 million pounds. Kind of had an okay start, but really you could always tell it was going the wrong way. Like, never was consistent enough. Had that long spell out where Ten Hag gave him 3 months off, came back, still like wasn't that motivated. And there you go. We learned about the Chelsea. He's playing pretty well for them. He played pretty well on loan at Dortmund. So he's another player when he's motivated. He's not like fucking Antony. Antony like doesn't have talent. Sancho and Pogba are talented football players, but often their motivations are not aligned with where the club is. So it's got to be Jadon Sancho, especially seeing him like on our wages that we're paying, play well for a team like Chelsea who's in the top 4. That stings a lot. Stings a lot.
Yeah, but actually not the worst deal. 73 million pounds, if you think about it. It didn't go well, but it's cheaper than Antony by a significant tune. We really bought him for his 2019-20 season at Borussia Dortmund. He's playing with Holland. He got 17 goals, racked up the assists as well. Didn't have as great of a 2021 season. Obviously, those were the COVID years. Still had Holland, but he kind of had a drop off. At that point, we were already linked. And the good news is we actually bought a mod and Facundo as part of not missing out on him in 2019-2020. But in 2021, the decline was already there, and he came in on the decline and never hit those numbers for United. 9 goals total for Manchester United. He will be moving to Chelsea at the end of the season. 58 games, 73 million pounds. That's more than £1 million a game, sir, for Jadon Sancho to play for Manchester United. And we're just good at burning cash, really. That's what this is all about. And if you look at the top 10 list, top 10 most expensive transfers all time,
Unbelievable.
obviously 1 and 2 are on our list. Harry Maguire we did not mention because he's actually,
We just overpaid.
We overpaid, but he gritted out like 55 million, no one bad an eye. Jadon Sancho's there. Lukaku scored goals for United. Also had some hysterical touches.
We recouped quite a bit of it as well.
Yeah, going to Inter. Di Maria, honorable mention. That was about 60 million pounds. We sold him for 44. That's the rumor. So it wasn't the worst deal. We sold quick. Didn't work out. Casemiro, you got to talk about. Bruno, obviously, the only deal in the top 10. Mason Mount. I like him, but he doesn't play. So we paid money for him not to play. So ultimately, like Højlund, jury's still out. I think he should have done better for the money 2 years in. Also, the highlights we watched. The profile we thought we were getting from him, I just feel like he hasn't lived up to it, but he's young. So at least the errors we're making now, the players are younger. That's the only good thing you can say about these horrible deals. But judging, look at this top 10 most expensive list by Manchester United, and that's why we're shit. This is exactly why we're shit.
Exactly right.
There's almost £1 billion pounds laid out here, and you look at that list and you're like, Harry Maguire, Bruno Fernandes, that's it. And that's not even that great of a success.
You went like best case 20%. In reality, it's like 15% because you give Maguire a half win. But all the others are failures. Either, like I said, too much money, wrong player together, like too late, right? Like Casemiro, great player, but not 30. So it's just United. This is what happens when you don't have director of football. You don't know what you're doing.
Pogba leaving on a free,
bro.
Right? Sancho leaving.
Anthony
for
will
nothing.
effectively leave on a free. Like we'll lose
Casemiro
so much
leaving
money.
leaving on a free. It's like this, like Mason Mount. Who's gonna pay? Like
nobody, dude. This kills you. This is
like
this club
a
killer.
success. Like Di Maria is like a snake. We don't.
And
like
he was
him.
good.
And the reason why he's not on the top 3 worst is because he actually recouped some money on the way out the door. That's like a success. We only lost
Same with Lukaku.
20 million. We only lost 20 million. That's a win as
deal.
far as our transfers are concerned. Get in the comments below. Let us know of the top 10. Are there any other transfers Manchester United filled out? Let us know. Like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.